Libya. So early elections were held that brought Syria's government to power and the House of Deputies. So after almost 2 or 3 weeks since the victory of the other party, the rival party to the Islamists, the Islamic supporters formed this operation, this Libya Dawn operation to regain power, and they managed after 41 days of seizing Tripoli International Airport to control the airport and to gain some power in the area. So you see, this is one party. This is one of the main ruling factions or main parties in Libya. The other party is the remnants of the former regime under the leadership of Khalifa Haftar.
Okay.
Yes, they were part of the regime of Gaddafi. But they are now under the command of retired General Khalifa Haftar, who formed the deputy operation. On the other side, we have deputy operation here, including some members of the former regime and some are part of the former army under Gaddafi, which is now under Khalifa Haftar, and we have Libya Dawn, which is a coalition of revolutionaries and mercenaries and supporters of political Islam. Within this, we have smaller and subdivisions of others, of other factions and parties who have a stake in maintaining the situation like that. We are calling for independence in the west and in southern Libya. So you can imagine that sometimes a municipality in Benghazi just announces its independence, and it has its own faction and its own army and its own government. See, so the situation is, I'm afraid to say that, is not that good at all. Is not that easy.
Having all these warring factions, will this make the ceasefire fragile?
Actually, because the conflict of interests, and I'm also afraid to say that other factions are just puppets in the hands of other regional and international players playing behind the curtain. Imagine, for instance, that the National Congress, which is a coalition of supporters of political Islam, has announced before the start of the talks that they will not join. They will not sit to the negotiating table with others. But after a visit to Turkey on Friday that lasted till Saturday by its chief, Nuri Abu Sahmoun, they changed their mind. In Turkey, he met with the Turkish president. I should associate between the visit to Turkey on Friday and Saturday and between changing his mind and changing his stance and accepting to join the talks, but on certain conditions, on certain, in fact, excessive conditions, just ostensibly to show that I'm not against a peaceful solution, but actually on the ground, practically speaking, they are against, because this is against their own words. They will not accept any power sharing. They will not accept any wealth sharing with other factions or parties.
So talking about Turkey, do you think that Turkey and other countries are interfering or behind what's taking place in Libya?
100% sure. 100%. And it is not a secret to say that Qatar is financing some warring factions in Libya during before the overthrow of Gaddafi, and they said so. And I think Turkey, out of other experiences, has always come out of having a hidden role, either regarding the situation in Syria or Iraq, and now regarding the situation in Libya. They support some warring factions. So I think there are regional powers, regional players who are
regional and international, of course.
Of course, we cannot separate between Turkey and the West, and because the interests are falling within one framework, which is this situation should be maintained like that until it reaches a certain point, so we can impose our own solution. So as I've told you just right now, that theoretically speaking, the national dialogue is good. But provided that there is good intention to reach tangible results that lead to restoring stability and security to Libya.
Actually, the European Union has mentioned that this is the last chance, the Geneva talks is the last chance to solve the Libyan crisis.
It is worrying that we take care that if not, I will just interfere to impose the solution I see practical and viable, but practical and viable not for the Libyans but for their own policies and strategies. So this warning is very significant. Take care, okay? I'm just doing my best now with you. If you don't agree, I will just step in to impose a solution, which is usually not to the interest of the people of the region, like what took place in Iraq. Remember, they have given Saddam Hussein so many warnings in the hope that he wouldn't accept any of these warnings. And when he didn't accept, he didn't yield in. What was the result? You see? So I think this strategy and the policy is not that strange to the West. They are not fair party at all. And they are not supposed to have a say in what is taking place in our region, because we have our own regional entities that were supposed, in fact, to play a role, like the African Union, like the Arab League, like other influential countries in the region who are supposed to play a role in this score, not just to make the EU or other Western powers to orient or steer the process the way they like, not the way which falls in our interests.
Libya has always been a rich oil country. How do you see the effect of the current situation on the Libyan economy?
Devastating. Actually, what is taking place now in Libya has a devastating effect, not only on the national economy, but on everything, on social services, on healthcare, on education, on infrastructure, everything. Libya, I can say safely that is in a civil war now. What is a civil war rather than what is taking place in Libya now? It is almost a civil war.
So you consider this actual civil war?
Actually, and it has a devastating and illegal effect on the national economy. Suppose every faction put its hand on one oil well and started exporting it to its own benefit. Is it a government? Is it a state? In the literal sense of the meaning, what is a state that has sovereign decisions, that has a sovereign role to play?
How is the humanitarian situation of the Libyan civilians actually living over there who did not flood the country so far?
Also catastrophic. Imagine
how can they manage their day-to-day life?
They don't manage. Just services are being provided to them at the minimum level, just when battles stop. You see, imagine, how can you find a real life and people who couldn't flee the country would have their own basic needs of health care, of food, of potable water, of whatsoever. All this has completely been destroyed. So our heart goes for those people, because actually they are living in a very tragic situation.
Do you think what's the role that should be played by Egypt and other countries in the region to save Libya or help Libya get out of its current crisis?
Of course, as the Egyptian leadership has announced before, that we are willing, we are ready to support the Libyan people and the Libyan army and the legitimate institutions in as much as we can, so that this situation would come to an end. Because unless there is a power inside the Libyan army would emerge victorious, would emerge powerful enough to impose a decision or to impose a solution. Otherwise, this solution will be imposed from other outside parties. Unless this power would emerge, things will be to the worse, things will be deteriorating. As we have the case in Egypt, for instance, we have an efficient and national army whom they step in and say we'll take over the situation, and we have the upper hand above all other factions who are trying to break the country down. Things you see are going to the better. So we should have this powerful party who can impose a solution to the interest of the regions and Middle East state.
Right.
So Egypt already is providing, or at least showing its interest and its willingness to support the Libyan army. And I think the foreign minister of Libya was 2 days ago for talks with our foreign minister to discuss the situation. And we have initiated several initiatives when our foreign minister visited Algeria to discuss, because both Egypt and Algeria are sharing long borders with Libya on the east and west with Libya. So we are moving. We are not standing idle. We are moving toward this, and I think what is taking place behind the curtain regarding our security bodies and agencies is much more important and significant than what is announced. Exactly.
Mr. Amjad Shaiqi, Editor Manager, Middle East News Agency, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you very much.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, with this we wrap up this edition of Africa Today. Many thanks for watching and stay tuned for more coming up here on Nile TV International.